On October 27th, 2011, I sneezed my brain out of my skull. Not like in a Looney Tunes kind of way, but like in a medical mystery kind of way. Now, at the exact moment that it happened, I was on my way to Sonic for happy hour. Now, this used to be a very coveted time. There was no app. If I wanted to pay half price for my Fresh Lime Slush, I needed to be there. So you could say I had a lot going on at the time. When I got home, I told my parents I sneezed and my head hurt. They chalked it up to allergies. Looking back, I really can't blame them. A few months later, I started to lose feeling in my left arm, and I would get vertigo spells just standing. But I never told anybody. I was a senior in high school, so I thought I had a lot of lasts in front of me. Last high school dances, last high school theater performances, last high school games, last time I would call my then best friends my best friends. I mean, we didn't even have a senior prank picked out, and to someone like me, that's a big deal. However, I couldn't hold it in anymore. It got to a point where I had so much mucus crusting over my eyes that I literally couldn't open my eyes in the morning, and I needed to have my parents help me. That led to an MRI, and when the MRI was done, the MRI-ologist came over to my family and said, "I'm no doctor, and I'm not supposed to do this, but y'all need to see someone sooner rather than later." And that led to an appointment with me and my mom at the only brain specialist in South Texas. Now, my mom is a traditional Mexican woman. Respect is automatically given. Yes, sir, no, ma'am, just mind my manners, that sort of thing. She's not a prude, but she runs a tight ship. For example, there was this one time when a friend of hers came over to the house and I met her at the door. And my mom's friend said that it was abrupt and rude because I didn't let her knock. And my mom agreed. And I still don't know why I got in trouble. I can only assume it was my mom's way of trying not to raise a serial killer or a jerk. I don't know. I'm her only child, so it's just a one shot. So we're sitting there in the doctor's office, and my mom's reading a People magazine. Not usually her style. She'd much rather get into like a furniture magazine and get lost in all of the things that we could never afford. The nurse comes in, and she starts asking her basic questions. Age, 17. Height, 6 foot on a good day. Weight, sturdy. And then she asks, "Are you a smoker?" And a hush filled the room. Just like that one, y'all. And with the quietest possible utter, I respond, "Yes." Now, there's a distinct noise a People magazine makes when it's being bent back in disbelief, and that still rattles me to my core when I hear it. Typically, they ask more questions after that, but my nurse read the room and quickly got out of there. I could only imagine the conversation we were going to have on the way home. However, we had bigger things going on at the time. I was diagnosed with Chiari malformation type 1, which is a genetic defect that affects the cerebellum, which it sits at the base of your skull and it controls things like motor function, balance, that sort of thing. And the cerebellum sits at the very bottom part of your skull. And the genetic defect pushed my cerebellum between my skull and my spinal column, right in that little spinal canal. It shouldn't do that, by the way. This can lead to numbness, vision blurriness, in some rare cases, paralysis, and in some rare cases, death. I never felt so small in my 17 years of age. Now, I do want to take a quick sidebar. This is a genetics issue, not a severe allergy issue, okay? So if you haven't had it by now, you're probably fine. So stop looking at the person that you came here with and telling them that you think you have that too, okay? So as we're leaving, it's easy to say that we had a lot more to talk about than just cigarettes. I was getting ready to graduate high school. I made it to state and competitive poetry, and college was right around the corner. Brain surgery is not supposed to fit in that. But my mom put on a brave face, and she said, "This is just a small chapter in the novel that is your life. And when this chapter is all said and done, you're gonna feel so good, baby. And when this chapter is all said and done, you're grounded from your debit card for 2 weeks for smoking smokes. I just want to wait until after the surgery, because, like, you never know." Well, surgery was a success. Thank you. I did my best. And as I'm sitting in my ICU bed, staring up at the ceiling, partially because I can't look anywhere else because I have 27 staples in the back of my head, I'm reminded of the sweet words of my high school football coach. "Lean into the pain. Lets you know you're alive." And thinking that was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. I mean, yeah, it let me know I was alive, but I'm miserable, and at what rate is that any good? And at that point, I start to begin to think of all the other times in my life where I felt alive, but I wasn't in any pain. Like the time I told a girl that I thought she was a hot pocket full of awesome, and how I thought that was gonna be the slickest line she'd ever heard. I felt alive from that embarrassment. Or like when I told my high school football team that I think I'm a theater kid and not really a football guy, and how I continued to feel alive each time they ignored me in the hallway. Or when my 6-month-old nephew was giggling at my grandfather's funeral and all that that symbolizes. My mom figuring out that I could smoke before I could vote. All of this let me know I was alive. And just as I'm being flooded with these memories, my mom chirps up. I can't really see her. She's just out of my peripheral vision, but I know she's sitting in one of those tacky vinyl recliners that every hospital has. And she says, "Wouldn't you love to do that?" And I look up, and it's the Travel Channel. And this guy is standing on top of a waterfall and jumps, hand up in the air, crests at the top, and dives into the crystal blue water below. And I respond, breathlessly, "I can't fucking sit up." And a hush filled the room. Like when an overprotective mother is about to find out that her son smokes cigarettes for the first time. And as I'm trying to catch what she's going to do, if she's trying to reach for something to throw at me, or if she's getting up to scold me, because I'm not supposed to say that word, much less in front of my mommy, I hear this large belly laugh. One where you forget how to breathe, but your body keeps going because it's filled with such emotion. And it was at that moment I knew I was alive. Thank you.